Welcome to the Sausage Bowl Podcast, the weekly podcast of the Sausage Bowl Fantasy Football League with your hosts, Danny and Cosmo.
Oh, buddy! Sausage Bowl Podcast, Season 2, Episode 11. That's right, we're back, man, and we're better than ever. I got my voice back. Your boy is back, okay? We're ready to go. I'm back in the driver's seat here. Cosmo, thank you so much for picking up the slack last week. Nahum, please, you haven't been introduced yet. Please hold the coughing to yourself. Okay. Oh, Cosmo, thanks for holding it down. But I'm back. I'm recovered. I know you guys were super worried about me. Thank you for all the get well letters and everything. I got them all on my, desk over here. I'm a tape them up or something. But anyway, it's good to be back. Cosmo, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad I don't have to, carry the load this week. I don't get paid enough to do that, so I'm glad to just play second fiddle and just enjoy my top seed once again for the 8th straight week.
Yeah, okay, that's great. All right, now moving on to more important things. It was alluded to by his coughing, but this week on the podcast, we've got none other than the man himself, Nahum.
Hey, what up? What up?
Oh, voice sounds so crisp. That internet connection is clean, bro.
Give it 20 minutes.
Wait till the data runs out. No, just kidding. But all right, well, we had a crazy week in fantasy. Fudge. We had a crazy week in fantasy.
Stop coughing.
So, hey, you know what? Let's get right into it.
It's time for the weekly news brought to you by Anchorman Cosmo.
Thank you for that, sexy voice guy. We got another week and another slew of injuries have affected a lot of different teams this week, and I'm just going to run through them really quickly here. Starting us off, Jacoby Brissett suffered an MCL sprain last week, was forced out of the game, where Brian Hoyer was able to come in and do an actually pretty good job. But Jacoby Brissett himself is expected to miss a couple of weeks. I think right now he's listed as questionable, but very doubtful to play this coming week. So plan accordingly. Adam Thielen re-aggravated the hamstring injury. Bugged him for the last couple of weeks, and now he is expected to miss a decent amount of time and projected not to come back until after the Week 12 bye, which definitely hurts for the people out there that are relying on Adam Thielen. Deshaun Jackson re-aggravated his abdominal injury that had been keeping him out for the first half of the season. He has been placed on injured reserve, and he's going to be out for the season. And I think that's a huge blow to the Eagles. I think Deshaun Jackson and, that first game was an absolute stud and I think was a big weapon for that Eagles offense and Carson Wentz. But now he is gone, and I think that really hurts that offense. Would you agree with that assessment, Danny?
Yeah, I was excited to see what he could do for Carson Wentz and Eagles offense this year, and I guess we'll have to wait for next year. But, it looked good, so I guess, hopefully it comes back next year and is strong.
Yeah, hopefully he can come back. Although I think he's like 50 at this point, so I'm not quite sure. So we don't discriminate against old people on this podcast. I just want to put that out there. Moving on, Preston Williams suffered a knee injury, and he will be out for the season. He's actually been having a pretty solid year as a rookie for the Dolphins. Believe it or not, the Dolphins have had a couple of decent players, so that is a blow to their already terrible team. But hopefully he'll be back next year and even stronger. Le'Veon Bell had a scare earlier in the week and got an MRI after their game. His knee. But he's actually expected to be okay. It doesn't look like it's anything serious. So all those owners out there can take a little bit of a deep breath and, play him next week. And hopefully he'll be better.
He likes to just get MRIs for fun, it seems like.
Yeah, man, this guy's cautious. He wants to make sure he's getting paid and protecting his future. So I guess I can't blame him, especially.
Yeah, safety first, right, Nahum?
Yes.
Yeah. Always use protection. That's our motto on this podcast. Evan Ingram, freaking bum, is likely to miss this coming week with a foot sprain and is getting a second opinion MRI done on Sunday. So that's great. Great news there. And then finally, Patrick Mahomes, after sustaining a brutal injury a couple weeks ago, is back to full practice and should be good to go this coming week. So, yay for Cameron, yay for the NFL. Not so good for the rest of us that are trying to win a championship. But that's pretty much all the injuries for the week. As always, a lot of brutal injuries, but that's the name of the game. You got to adapt. You gotta be able to navigate from these injuries, and that's what makes a good fantasy player. But finally, let's move on to some non-injury related news. We have one transaction that was kind of notable that happened this week. That Josh Gordon was waived by the New England Patriots, and for some reason was not. He had a chance to be claimed by almost every single team in the NFL, and 26 teams basically passed on him until the Seahawks, who were 28th on waivers, picked him up, and he is now a member of the Seattle Seahawks. Do either of you guys think that this is the moment where Josh Gordon actually becomes fantasy relevant, or do you think he's going to go back to just being the tease he's been the last couple of years?
It's interesting. I don't know what this is gonna do to DK Metcalf and stuff, but I feel like him and DK are gonna split a lot of stuff. And I don't the Seahawks passing game, the only sure person out there seems to be Tyler Lockett. And then otherwise it's like DK Metcalf one week and then like Jeff Hollister or whatever that guy's name was the next week. Is he on our tight ends? Jacob Hollister. The next week, that guy went from owning a clothing store to being the starting tight end for the Seahawks and, catching a bunch of passes. So, I don't know, Nahum, you think he'll be a stud or just kind of middle of the road?
No, I agree with you. I mean, I think he's just gonna hurt, Metcalf and the other receivers on the Seahawks. That's the only impact he'd have fantasy wise.
Now, question: it is legal to smoke weed up there, so is he gonna prosper from this, or?
Hopefully not. But we'll see. I mean, yeah, that's actually a good point. It's to be bad for him personally.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, it's probably not good for his mental health. But the thing that interests me most is that so many teams passed up on him on the waivers. Like Cardinals could have used him probably. I mean, just every team. Like it's just surprising to me that no one wanted to grab him until he fell to the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, probably they're just scared that he's with all his off-field issues that have gone on, and I mean, there haven't been a lot of like clear reports as to why he was released. I know he was placed on IR, and that had a factor on it, but I think there's more to the story there, and I think a lot of these teams sniffed on that. But I don't know. I feel like it was kind of a mistake. If you don't have to pay a lot for Josh Gordon, I think he's worth a gamble. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it was really, really strange that all these teams passed up on him.
Yeah, well, all right. Thank you, Anchorman Cosmo, for always doing a, top job there, cream of the crop.
You stumbled there a little. You hesitated.
I don't know what you're talking about. So let's
Top 5 players of the week.
All right, let's get into those top quarterbacks. Number 1 here, we got Russell Muscle Wilson here. 39.2 points for that Ash Rash Aaron, you know what I'm saying? Man, Russell Wilson was just popping off this week and was a really good stack with Tyler Lockett. We'll get to that in a second. Was crazy game there. Number 2, Jimmy G finally performing like the way he looks. 28.9 points on the waiver wire. And I don't know if anyone really wants to trust him. Number 3, Lamar Jackson, 28.6 points for Dick Sack Duncan. I dropped my pen. Number 4, Matthew Stafford, 24.8 points for Cameron. And then number 5, surprisingly, Ryan Fitzmagic, 23.7 points on the waiver wire.
Thank you. And I actually have a quick question, Danny. If Jimmy G came to your room, in the middle of the night and wanted to give you a little something, would you say yes or would you say no?
I'll let that be my answer.
That's a yes.
That's a yes. Okay. Let's move on to the top 5 running backs of the week. Number 1, once again, Christian McCaffrey, 36.1 points for Rahi. It's getting boring at this point, consistently being on the top of the list.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Good for you. Number 2, Kenyon Drake, 26.2 points for myself. I'd like to take a lot of credit for making this smart play, but it was more of a desperation, and I didn't have any other options, and it just happened to work out. But I'll take it. I will take it. Number 3, we have Melvin Gordon. Wait, am I reading this right? Melvin Gordon, number 3, with 24.4 points on Danny's bench. Didn't matter. Danny was able to pull it off, but nice bounce back here, and maybe the firing of the offensive coordinator had some positive.
Yeah, I mean, they gave him like 20 carries instead of like 5, like this 4 previous weeks. So
yeah, nowhere to go up. So good on you, Melvin Gordon. Number 4, we have Josh Jacobs with 24 points for Brandon. Has been very, very good this year and has proven all the people right that were hyped on him in the preseason. And finally, Derrick Henry with 23.4 points for Akshay. I think he was a little salty that Akshay, basically abandoned him, like a jerk. He devoted his love to Aaron Jones instead, and I think Derrick Henry wanted to shove it in Akshay's face by doing good.
What if Derrick Henry just all of a sudden like dropped himself from Akshay's team? Like he did this performance to get back at Akshay, and then Akshay logs in the next day, and Derrick Henry's just like not on his roster anymore. He's just on the waiver wires,
Hey, we all know he listens to the podcast, so I think that might be a big possibility.
Yeah, well, all right. Nahum, give us the top 5 wide receivers of week 9.
9. Number 1, Tyler Lockett, 33.7 points for Aaron. Number 2, Mike Evans, 30 points for Taylor. Number 3, Metcalf, 24 points for Duncan. Number 4, Tyreek Hill, 23.5 points for Danny. And then Marvin Jones, 22.6 for Aaron on his bench.
Dude, I'm glad I didn't trade away Tyreek Hill because it's been awesome to see him still performing, this way, especially without Patrick Mahomes being in there. So
yeah, when you're an elite receiver, it don't really throw into you. You can get the ball in your hands.
Yeah. So
I guess unless you're Juju.
Yeah.
Oh,
You just suck.
God,
I'm
sorry.
still on that trade, by the way. Tyreek Hill for Juju.
Oh yeah. When I was like, hey, I'm looking for wins.
Tyreek Hill's not going to do well after this week. He's just going to fall off. So trade him now.
Ouch. Yeah, you know what? I'm sending you the offer right now, man. But all right. As always, saving the tight ends for the guy that has the tight end. Number 1, Zach Ertz, 20.8 points for Rahi. Nice bounce back game here. Maybe they finally stopped, the Eagles stopped whining and complaining like little babies over in the corner. They're like, we don't have to shut Jack. Just shut up, bro. You got a bunch of good people on your team. Do something with them. Stop feeding Dallas Goedert, okay, and give it to Zach Ertz. And that's what they did. And he got 20.8 points, and they got the win. Number 2, Noah Fant, 19 points on the waiver wire, where he should probably stay. But if you have not had a chance to go watch his touchdown run, it's hilarious. Like, he catches the ball, and this Browns defender tries to just, like, lay him out. And I swear Noah Fant doesn't even realize he's there. Like, the Browns defender just gets destroyed, and Noah Fant just keeps running for the touchdown. And, oh, man, you got to go watch it. Just go search Noah Fant 75-yard touchdown or whatever it is. It's so hilarious. Number 3, Jacob Hollister, 17.7 points on the waiver wire. Not really sure where this guy came from. Number 4, George Kittle, 16.9 points for Tay. And number 5, Mike Gesicki, 12.5 points. Great athlete, just held down by the Dolphins, but had a shining moment this week. So
Fins up.
Good for him. Fins up. Brandon should be proud getting that dub. Getting that first dub. It was amazing. And the Jets are terrible. Okay, moving along.
All hail the king sausage of the week.
That's right. That's right. The king sausage this week is none other than the curry man himself, Rahi, coming in with a whopping 153.1 points. We'll get to the breakdown later, but man, it was a good performance from him, and his team lit it up. So congratulations, king sausage of the week. What's like a king in India? I feel like it's on the tip of my
I
tongue.
have no idea.
I don't really know what it is, but whatever. King sausage of the week, Rahi. Congratulations, man. You know you deserve it. So moving on.
Stanky sausage of the week.
Man, you know what? We're here again, once again, and it's kind of ironic because the man is actually here himself. That's right. Sack. No. That's right. The stanky sausage of the week here is none other than our boy, our guest this week, our guest of honor, Nut Sack Nihum. Not sack. Did you know it's no nut November, Nahum? You're not supposed to be getting these stanky sausages over here, man. But you did. You lost. You lost no nut November. Not sack. Oh, not sack. Nahum. Not sack. Nahum. Got the stanky sausage this week, man. And you know what? You're on the podcast, man. Would you do the honors? Would you give us a nut sack, Nahum here?
No.
Come on, man. Just own it. You gotta own your sorrows here. Just let it out. You'll feel so much better. I promise.
I guarantee I will not feel better. You know. Yeah.
Come on, give the people what they want, man. You know.
Nah.
Come on.
You just do it again if you want.
Nah, dude. Come on. No, I'm not saying no. Dude, come on, man.
I can't do it as well as you. You
Come
do it
on,
well.
man. Come on, dude. Come on. You know what? Give us a sing along, dude. It's the nut sack. It's the nut sack up your butt crack. It's the nut sack. Nut sack Nahum and Cosmo. Take it away.
In case this gets released to the public, I won't sing.
It's the nut sack Nahum. Oh, Nahum join in for the people. Nutsack,
You're not gonna get me to do it.
Nutsack, Nahum. All right, so that was our stanky sausage of the week. Goes to Nahum. Feel bad for him, but you know what? I don't really feel bad for him. So, all right, let's keep it rolling.
Bench regrets.
Yeah, another week of regrets. Starting us off, Taylor.
Nutsack Nahum.
Taylor did not have any regrets, and I actually was really hoping he did because Taylor ended up losing by 0.8 points. But surprisingly, he played everyone the best he could, so there wasn't really any regrets there. But, it was really close to having one of the biggest regrets of the season. Our fellow guest, Nutsack Nahum, had a regret with DJ Moore sitting on his bench with 13.6 points. What do you got against DJ Moore? Nahum?
Oh, I got nothing against him. He's a great receiver. I just trusted Juju more than I trusted him. That's never. I can tell you now, that's never happening again.
Fast forward to next week where Juju ends up on bench regrets.
Yeah.
Aaron,
Nahum.
for what seems like the third or fourth time this season, has Marvin Jones on his bench with 22.6 points. And to add insult to injury, he also left David Montgomery on the bench, who scored 21.1 points, having a second good week in a row. So some regrets there for Aaron, who lost a pretty close, tightly contested matchup against our very own Curry Daddy here. Akshay, for the second week in a row, had the same exact two players as his bench regrets. Seemingly not learning his lesson, as Philip Lindsay and Emmanuel Sanders both end up in the bench regret section in back-to-back weeks. Philip Lindsay scoring 15.2 points and Emmanuel Sanders scoring 20.7 points. Come on, Akshay, you got to learn from your mistakes. And finally, wrapping us up here, let's put a pin in this one for Brandon, because Brandon had a very special bench regret this week, and we'll get that in the next couple of minutes. But let's just say it was a definite regret. Something you don't want to do.
Yeah. And let's just say this isn't the first time Brandon has done this. And they coincidentally keep coming after weekends where he's getting down a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But all right, we'll get into that. We've hyped it up enough, so where's this sound drop? All right, here it is.
Uh-oh. You feel something rumbling in your tummy, but you're in public. You're going to take the risk, and you're going to let it go anyway. Is it going to come out a fart or a shart?
Shart.
Thanks, Dave.
I didn't say that.
Oh, that was Cosmo?
I think so.
That was Nahum.
What?
That was not me.
No, Zach. All right, so the fart and shart of the week. Here we go. Cosmo. You know what? Who's going to the mall today as friends?
Duncan's kind of had a rough go of it this season. He's had multiple incidents in the mall. He doesn't learn his lesson. He's been wearing the white pants,
the white friendship pants.
But this time, you know what? He took a risk. He wore the white pants again, even though it's failed him in the past. And what do you know? It worked out this week as he played DK Metcalf, who scored 24 points for him, being a key factor in him being able to win his matchup this week. And this is actually the second week in a row where DK Metcalf has ended up as the fart of the week, except last week it was for Nahum. And this week it was used against Nahum.
Man.
Hurts
a little bit
there. That's going to sting.
But Duncan is in the clear. He let it go, and it actually did not
Duncan.
Come out dirty.
That came out of your butt cheeks clean, man. Good job there. And Nahum, you were close with Brandon this past weekend, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, well, Brandon accompanied Duncan to the mall with his white friendship pants. Brandon seems to wear these a lot, and he usually is able to get his fart out okay. But do you want to explain to us what happened this time?
Yeah, I mean, he just sharted all over his pants.
Why did he shart all over his pants?
Because he left James Conner in his lineup.
That's right. Brandon was in Vegas this weekend, and he swears up and down that had nothing to do with the fact that James Conner was left in his lineup after being said that he is out very early in the day. And Duncan even texting Brandon and saying, hey, don't forget to take James Conner out of your lineup. But it didn't matter. James Conner was left in Brandon's lineup, did not play at all, gave him that fat goose egg 0, and Brandon just proceeded to just shart all over those white friendship pants, just oozing down his leg. Oh man, it was like diarrhea. Oh dude, it's like going down his leg. And Brandon was trying to be very stylish this time, so he kind of made them into like capris. He made like white friendship pant capri things, so it started coming out of the bottom of the capris, like all down his ankle and stuff. And Yeah, man, it's not good, not good. Yeah, Shard of the week here. James Conner, 0 points for Brandon. Fart of the week, DK Metcalf, 24 points for Duncan. Congrats, Duncan here. But all right, now
Yeah, when Brandon told me he left James Conner in the lineup, I was like in my head I was like that's a stinky sausage, easy. I was like, whew, at least it's not me. But nope.
oh man, nutsack name. Nah, yeah, you didn't get away with that one. Yeah, you gotta think differently next time. You can't let your guard down like that, or else the nutsack's coming out. So, all right, now we haven't had as many guests on this year. Just been busy. Other people have been busy. We've been doing other stuff with the show. But this week we got our boy Nahum on, and we all know what happens when Nahum's on the show. But you know what? Uncle Nahum decided that it was time to do something with his life. Okay, he couldn't just sit around, in his basement or whatever all the time. He needed to do something in his life, so he went out and he got his teaching certification, and he is now a school teacher known as Mr. Uncle Nahum. And you know what? Take it away, sexy voice man.
All right, everyone, grab your school supplies because it is time for class with Mr. Uncle Nahum.
That's right, we're going to class with Mr. Uncle Nahum. I'm so excited. Oh, the first day of school. Oh, it's great. It just feels like the first day of school all over again. But that's right, Mr. Uncle Nahum's actually going to be passing out current grades on our seasons. That's right, get ready for some ultimate grading here. Mr. Uncle Nahum, take it away.
All right, hello class. My name is Mr. Uncle Nahum, and I'll be passing out the report cards for for your seasons through week 10. Overall, I'm disappointed in everyone. The majority of you have failed, even with the curve. There's only a couple good spots, good teams this year, and everyone else is underperformed. But all right, we'll go ahead and start passing out these report cards. Just gonna go down the list here. I'll start with Cosmo. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I don't have many bad things to say about your team, Cosmo. High performing team, but you've also had one of the easiest schedules in the league this year. And overall, you've brought honor to your family. Yeah, but I don't know how long this luck will last. But yeah, I just don't have any bad things to say. I was gonna give you a B plus, but your team name rounds you up to an A. So good for you.
Yay!
Where is it?
My family will be happy.
That's the only A I'm giving out. The rest of you, yeah.
Oh no.
Okay, well, I'll go to Taylor next. Okay. Yeah, no, I really want to just put Taylor in academic probation because I don't like him. But that would be fair with how well his team's doing this year. He's actually had a good season. I'm actually gonna give Taylor the highest grade he's ever seen on his report card. I'll give Taylor a C plus. Yeah, I think even even those trades with Akshay have not ended up working out too well for him. They initially look good, so I give him points for that. But I do like some of his other pickups. He picked up Aaron Rodgers for a couple big games. And for that big dick clutchness, as Taylor would like to call it, it's pretty suspect, but that's what he calls Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he's done well until now, but I hope he does go on a losing streak, and I hope he misses the playoffs. All right. Next up, we got. Let's see here. Who's next in the standings? All right, we got Rahi next. Yeah, his team is not good. His team looks like the shit stain on his underwear right now. Actually, yeah, the only two good players he's got here is Galladay and McCaffrey, and the rest of his team is just diarrhea and constipation. And I think he's actually okay with that. I don't think he really cares too much because he hasn't made any moves. He's got $93 left. Cheap ass. I'm gonna give him a B minus. I'll give him a B minus. All right, next we got Cameron. Cameron in was this fifth place? Yeah, fifth place. Is it fifth or sixth? That's fifth. Actually, I'm gonna give Cameron some slack because of what I did to him in week 8. I'm not gonna go in on his team too much, but I like a lot of his transactions this year. The only thing I didn't like was the Sony Michel and Hollywood Brown for LaShawn McCoy. That trade he did with Duncan earlier this season.
Yeah.
But I like everything else really. I mean, he's been quick to pick up players on the waiver wire, like when their value goes up, like with Mohamed Sanu and potentially Josh Gordon. We'll see how that plays out. But I think he's I think he'll make the playoffs, and he might even have a playoff run. But yeah, I'm giving him a B, and that's me going easy on him. I don't want to do any more of him.
Let's just say he earned that B, if you know what I mean.
All right, Brandon. So actually, last year when Brandon was roasting my team, he said looking at Nahum's team is like looking into a trash can, and I never forgot that. I always remembered that. And that did not age well. I think it's kind of flipped now. His team is like looking into a trash can. He has like the second least points for and the second least points against. So his 5-4 record is just because of his luck. That's it. His team is he has the same record as me, but he has like less than 1,000 points.
He won a game 80-50.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Actually, I looked it up, and if he had anyone else's schedule, he'd be 1-8. And I looked that up. That's a fact. So, yeah, C minus for Brandon.
Oh!
All right. Now we're getting into the curve makers here.
Oh god.
The last 4 I like to call the curve squad. All right, Danny, you're next.
Oh god.
You're not making the playoffs. I can tell you that right now. Your team is garbage, and it's a combination of a bad team and a hard schedule. So, I mean, yeah, I gave you Zeke out of pity. Yeah. Also, I mean, this is a rhetorical question. Don't answer this, but like, how do you only have $4 left in Fab? Where did you spend the money? And, we got 4 weeks left in the regular season, so I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do. If I were you, you should try to make a deal with Akshay or something.
Hey, there's always the dollar menu.
That's true. All right, yeah, D for Danny.
Let's just say some of my money might have been going to certain favors from, people on the streets, you know what I'm saying? Like I need I need to satisfy I had to get ready for No Nut November, you know what I'm saying? So
I see. Well, I hope it was it. All right. Next, it's 8th place. We got Akshay Verma. I mean, I don't know. Like with Akshay, I've seen an improvement in his decision making in fantasy. Like he still gives away his players for almost nothing, but some of his moves have like actually worked out for him. So it's hard to talk bad about his moves when some of them are worked out, and that's all that really matters. He's had a difficult schedule, but I don't know. I think he could make a comeback. It's still close. So as long as he doesn't make terrible deals, I think he could come back. But his decisions will have like the most outcome on how his team does. So we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, Akshay. I mean, if it was last year, I would give him an F. Now I'm gonna give him a D plus. All right. 9th place we got Aaron. Not many bad things I can say about his team, mostly because he gave me like the most heartbreaking defeat I've had this season. He's 3-6, but most of that I think is due to his like tough schedule. But the transactions, I like them. I liked his Marvin Jones pickup. And then I think he just picked up Sammy Watkins. So with Mahomes coming back, we'll see if I think that's a good addition to his team, but we'll see. The main thing for him is his tight ends because he's had to stream most of them. But that's like the story of most of the people in the league. I'll give Aaron a C plus. And then last place, we got Duncan, and congrats to you for beating me this week. But your luck will dry out. I mean, some of his moves have been good, like the one he made in week 1 for Travis Kelce. But I mean, at some point you just gotta start winning. I don't know what to say. Yeah, D minus for Duncan. D minus for Pittsburgh. And yep, I think that's everyone. Good luck to you,
Mr. Uncle Nahum. Grade yourself.
Oh, grade myself?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. I'm gonna give myself an A plus.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a tough schedule, but I've also been a high performer. I haven't made many moves this season, but I had a really good draft. So there's not anything bad I can really say about my team. Yeah, it's just amazing draft, and I made very few moves, but they've all been perfect. Yeah, I think I'm a week 1 buy. I'll get a week 1 buy in the playoffs for sure. The championship. Yeah, I'm locked in. The championship is mine to lose at this point. So yeah, A plus.
Oh, school's out. All right. Thank you, Mr. Uncle Nahum, for those grades through week 10. They were very, very accurate. Very accurate. That's all I can say there. Cosmo, were you pleased with your grade?
I'm perplexed as to how Uncle Nahum's grade was higher than mine, but
you know what? Actually, you're dropped down to a B plus.
Hey, are you even allowed to be like 15 feet of a school? I'm pretty sure you're not.
Yes.
Can I stay after class to help boost my grade up?
Yes, you can, Danny.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, moving on to our next segment here. Where is it? I can't find half these segments. All right.
Time to find out if you're a loser or a winner. It's time for the weekly matchup review.
All right, our first matchup here. Let's go ahead and do the age-old Ching Chong Wee Wee Cosmo in first place going against Jones Dream Team, the new name for Akshay here. This one was projected to be very tight, 108 to 108, and it ended up being kind of a little bit of a blowout, 111 to 92 for Cosmo. Cosmo gets the win here. Akshay eats that fat L, just going down his throat. The L just slipping down that throat. Oh, is he going to choke on it? Oh, no, shame. Okay. So Cosmo here for his team had Kyler Murray get 23 points against the San Francisco defense, which was crazy. Julian Edelman, 11 points, always consistent. Mike Williams came back from the dead, 12.8 points. Dalvin Cook, a little bit of disappointing week here, 13.6 points. Kenyon Drake, 26 points. Evan Ingram, 8. Devontae Adams, 7.6. And then over on Akshay's side here, 21 points from Dak Prescott, 1 from Allen Robinson. Great move, bro. 14.8 from Cortland Sutton, 3.4 from Aaron Jones, 23.4 from Derrick Henry, and 6 from Dallas Goedert, and 5 from DJ Chark. It's weird. He made this commitment to Aaron Jones. He changed his name, and then immediately Aaron Jones lets him down, and Derrick Henry goes off for 23 points. Cosmo, do you think Akshay will be changing his name back?
I think you will, and then they Jones score like 40 points, and Henry's gonna drop out of poop. So I think whenever you're not loyal, you get burned. So
these hoes ain't loyal, bro.
I know Akshay is the biggest hoe out there.
Were you pleased with your team's performance this week, dealing with some injuries and bye weeks?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I was kind of in a crunch. A lot of my players were gone. I had to improvise, and they did okay. Obviously, Devontae Adams, this bum, has been out for 4 weeks. Comes back and drops 7 points. That's infuriating. But I was pretty happy with the majority of my team, and I feel relatively okay going forward as long as my players can stay healthy. I think in terms of Akshay's team, I kind of feel bad for Akshay because I think his team is a lot better than his record. When you look at his total points, it's actually pretty high compared to some of the people ahead of him. So I think he's getting some bad luck. And I think with some moves he's made today, and if he can just get his team all together at once, I think he might have a shot at sneaking back into the playoffs. But getting some tough luck here, and Allen Robinson, F you for I defended your honor. I did this passionate speech to defend this trade, and man, he made me look like a fool. So F you.
You
Robinson.
forgot about one key piece of your argument, Cosmo. Mitch Trubisky. That's what you forgot about. But Nahum, what are you taking away from this matchup here?
It was interesting to see how the Patriots see them get exposed by the Ravens. For once they didn't score a defensive touchdown. But I mean, I think it's I predicted Cosmo to win this, and it sucks for Akshay that Jones is such like a boomer bust player. But yeah, I agree with Cosmo that his team does he does have the pieces. I don't know. It just never it doesn't all come together on the same week. Everyone's kind of up and down on his team.
Yeah.
But I think he's due for a win soon.
Cosmo, are you worried at all about New England defense? Because I know they've been a big driving force of your team this season. They're averaging like 20 points a game, which is insane. And then last week they get 4 against Baltimore.
I'm not too worried because this was it was a tough competitor, and they still were able to get some turnovers and stuff. So they weren't like a complete non-zero in this game, especially considering they gave up 37 points. And honestly, at this point, all I really care about is like who they're playing in their playoffs in week 15 and 16 in Cincinnati and Buffalo. So I'm not too concerned here. I think though better days are ahead. I think Bill Belichick is pissed that they got smacked by the Ravens, and I think coming out of their bye, they're going to come back strong. So, I mean, probably not going to be scoring 25 points a week, but I'm not really worried about them like choking really badly going forward.
I mean, I disagree with you. I think you actually should be worried, but if you want, I can give you Minnesota defense for New England right now. I can make that trade if you
Ooh.
want. Yeah, because they're gonna keep scoring 4 points. But I'll trade you. I'll take them off your hands.
Okay, I'll discuss it later in the basement.
Oh,
Right.
okay. On that note, let's move on to the next matchup here. Let me give you a little hint. That's right. We had Rahi Curry on your downer against public enemy number 1, Aaron. Projected a 109 to 106 victory for Aaron, and it was not anywhere like that. It was a 153 King Sausage victory for Rahi over 127 for Aaron. And this one was actually kind of a wild matchup here. Aaron made a strong push towards the end, but wasn't quite enough. On Aaron's team here, we had Russell Wilson, 39 points, Tyler Lockett, 33 points. Incredible game from both of them. Adam Thielen just completely hosed Aaron here. Went out on like the second play, re-aggravated his hamstring and left the game with a fat 0 points, doing what Keenan Allen did to Duncan last year. So that's got to sting. Nick Chubb, 11 points here against Denver. Carlos Hyde, 14, had an absolute wild day on Jacksonville. Would have had a touchdown to go with it, but unfortunately fumbled in the end zone and lost the ball there, so could have had an even bigger day. TJ Hawkinson, 7 points. Jarvis Landry, 14. And then over on Rahi's King Sausage side, we had 21 from Kirk Cousins, 21 from Kenny Galladay, 1 from Deshaun Jackson. What a bum. 36 points from Christian McCaffrey, 1 from Royce Freeman, 20 from Zach Ertz, 14 from Jordan Howard, and then 18 from kicker and 18 from defense. So, yeah, a bit of a letdown for Deshaun Jackson and Royce Freeman, but the rest of his team lit it up here. Cosmo, I know a couple weeks ago you had kind of said you think Rahi might start to slip a little bit because his team, he wasn't making a ton of moves, and his team was super dependent on Christian McCaffrey and, Galladay Cup. But is your mind kind of changing? Do you think he's trending up, or is this just a fluke couple of weeks?
Honestly, I don't think it's really changed too much. I think I think it's looking a lot better than it did a couple weeks ago, where he scored literally the lowest points we've ever seen. But I still feel like he needs those like 40-point weeks for Christian McCaffrey to win some matchups. I think there's just a lot of holes on his team right now, and for some reason he just is not willing to spend his money. He still got $93, and there definitely were players throughout the season that could have definitely helped Rahi. So I'm not too optimistic. I think he's kind of going to be on the bubble for the rest of the season. I think he needs, he needs those top tier players that he has, like Cup and McCaffrey, to perform every week. And not every week they're going to score 30, 40 points. And so, I think his team will be very up and down. And I think ultimately he's going to, be in that 6th, 7th place range when the season is over.
Yeah. Would you agree, Nahum, or no?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a question of 6th or 7th. It's more of a question of like 9th or 10th.
Shoot.
Yeah, man. Like I think a team's worst weeks are bigger indicators than the weeks they blow up. Don't forget he scored 50 points at one point this season, right? That's like a third of what he scored this week. So,
under that logic, Nahum, haven't you won the stinky sausages?
Moving over to Aaron's team, though, I really do feel bad for Aaron because I think he actually has a really solid team and just keeps going up against, blow up opponents and stuff like that. And yeah, unfortunately, is 3-6 and in 9th place here. But I mean, Nick Chubb's been pretty solid all season. Tyler Lockett's been solid all season. Russell Wilson has just been on another level. I feel like Russell Wilson is almost doing like what Patrick Mahomes did last year. He's had a couple down games, but I mean, he's had like 24 points, 41, 29, 28, 39, like just blowing up. Losing Adam Thielen, I think, is going to hurt a lot, obviously. But do you think this kind of crumbling, Aaron's starting to crumble, Cosmo, or is there life for him?
Uh, it, it's just tough because like I feel like in past seasons there's like the bad teams that stand out that if your team is good enough you can kind of get over those bottom feeders. But I feel like there isn't really that team this year, so every matchup is a pretty tough matchup. And he's a little bit lower standings and points, and I think his team is good, but I don't think his team is necessarily overwhelming. And I don't know if he can go on like a 4 or 5 game winning streak that he might need to make into the playoffs. So I don't know. He's still got a hole at tight end. Gerald Everett has been very on and off for him. Thielen, is going to be out for a while. One of his best players, Lockett, I mean, we'll get into it earlier, but it's no longer on his team. And Nick Chubb might, suffer a little bit with Kareem Hunt coming back. So I still like it. I mean, his team is good, but I just think he's kind of in a hole right now, and I don't think his team is good enough to get out of that hole.
Dang. Nahum, you know a lot about holes. Do you think he can climb out?
I think he can climb out of that hole. It's not a deep hole, so I think it's not gonna be hard for him to get out of it.
Yeah, David Montgomery actually has a super nice schedule the rest of the way. So maybe that'll be a good piece he can fit in there and help him out with Adam Thielen going out and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
we'll
I'll
have
give
to.
him prop. Yeah, I'll give him props on keeping David Montgomery because it looked like a couple of weeks ago he was almost borderline droppable,
Yeah.
and he's been patient with them, and I think that patience has like definitely been rewarded.
Did you know David Montgomery had 14 carries for 40 yards last week, but had 2 touchdowns? And
The
some
Bears.
receptions. Mitch Trubisky just holding that entire team back. Okay, next matchup here. Let's see. We did those two. Let's go ahead and get into Antonio Brown sucks. Brandon really needs to learn to let go at this point. I think it's kind of holding his team down. Brandon going up against Cameron here. Scott's Tots was projected a 105-96 win for Cameron here, and both teams underperformed. But Cameron got the win 94-86 here. And my mini bold prediction last week that Brandon would get his first ever sausage bowl god dang it, his first ever stanky sausage almost came true. Missed out on stanky sausage by like 0.5 points. So that was unfortunate for us, but not so much Brandon. Although I guess he did get the L's. That was kind of unfortunate. But anyway, over on Cameron's side here, 24 points from Matt Stafford, who's just been lighting it up recently. 15 points from Hopkins, who's I don't know. I feel like Hopkins has just been super disappointing this year. I don't know what it is with the Houston Texans offense, but now all of a sudden they're throwing a lot more to the tight end and everything, and I don't know. But 6 points from Tyrell Williams, 1 from LaShawn McCoy. Trade regrets there. 11 from Austin Eckler, 6 Darren Waller, 9 from John Brown, and 15 from his kicker that actually helped him get the win here. On Brandon's side, 13 from Tom Brady, 10 from Odell, also super disappointing. Devonta Parker, 13 points on Miami. Who would have thought? Leonard Fournette, 9 points. Josh Jacobs, 24. Mark Andrews, 3. And James Conner, 0. So, Cosmo, or actually, we'll start with Nahum. Nahum, do you think Karma's starting to catch up to Brandon here a little bit, and we're about to see a big drop off the cliff, or do you think he's going to make that late season surge that Brandon always makes?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's gonna. I'll go with the second one. I think, he's gonna continue to win a game, then lose a game, then win a game, then lose a game, and his team will just show up at the very end. That's what I predict. I don't know.
What about Cameron's side?
Cameron, I don't know. Well, I like that Sanu had a good game. I think that was his first game with the Patriots.
I think it's second, but yeah.
Oh, second. Okay. Yeah, second. So yeah, I think Cameron has some good pieces. He got the win this week. I think he won last week as well. So yeah, we'll see. I think Cameron's a playoff contender for now.
Cosmo, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Not a great match, but I also agree kind of with the sentiment. I think Brandon is going to be okay going forward, even though his team has really, really underperformed and has gotten lucky with his matchups. I think he probably still possesses the best running back core in the league. I mean, maybe besides Taylor when Taylor's running backs are healthy. But I mean, Fournette, Jacobs, and Connor. I mean, that's really strong running back. And if you can just get like OBJ back on track, which I think he is. I think OBJ is about to break out. He's had some tough matchups. I think I don't necessarily think the Browns are going to be like the team that everyone thought they were going to be going into the season, but I think they're going to be better. Their matchups kind of ease up, and I think OBJ is going to be a lot better going forward. And so I think Brandon's team is looking fine, and I also think Cameron's is too. I know I don't want to talk about his running backs anymore because I don't want to be broken record, but he's got really, really strong receivers. Probably the strongest receiving core in the league with Hopkins and Michael Thomas, and a really underrated player this year in John Brown. I think that was a really good pickup week one. That's he's been pretty consistent week in and week out as Josh Allen's his favorite target. So I think both of these teams are like pretty solid middle of the pack teams that I think both could make the playoff and go on a run if things break right.
Well, hopefully they do for Cameron's sake, and yeah, we're all waiting for Brandon to just take off here as he always does. So next matchup here, unfortunately, we have to talk about this nutsack Nahum. That's right, we had Cox out for Kamara. Nahum going against Pepe Hans Duncan, and this one was projected a 120 to 104 win for Nahum, and Nahum just said, "F that, I'm going to go completely opposite," and it was a 106 to 86 win for Duncan, and Nahum grabbed that stanky sausage along the way with 19 points from Deshaun Watson, 5 from Keenan Allen. Man, all these top receivers have just been so disappointing. Adams, Allen,
Right.
Beckham, Hopkins, Michael Thomas has been good, so he's one of those up there. But yeah, it's just been disappointing for them for this year. Cooper 16 points, Chris Carson 12, Tevin Coleman 4, coming off of his 36-point week. Not really sure what happened there. Hunter Henry 11. Nahum finally solved his tight end problems. Things won't be leaking out the back anymore, if you know what I'm saying. It's not so loose back there. Got that tight end now. But 3 from Juju. Over on Duncan's side here, 28 from Lamar Jackson, 24 from DK Metcalf, 16 from Lev Bell, and 10 from Travis Kelce, 8 from Marlon Mack. It was enough to get him the win here. Nahum, did it sting having the revenge game of DK Metcalf against you for dropping him?
Yeah. That was one stuck from this game. Another was Tevin Coleman's terrible performance. But I'm not too worried about my team moving forward. The Tevin Coleman, his game was just because Breida, was announced active like right before the game. He wasn't supposed to. I think he was supposed to be either limited or not supposed to play at all. But I'll know that going forward. I probably won't be playing Coleman too much.
Yeah.
I think Allen has some good matchups. And I don't know for the flex. That's my only thing.
Yeah, I'm not too worried because you get Kamara back.
Yeah, exactly.
From bye, and you've got DJ Moore and everything. So, I think it'll be fine. And I've noticed with your team, you generally for the most part score pretty high, but every once in a while you have these weeks where you just like put up a dud. But then, unfortunately for me, and we'll get into this the next week, you usually go drop 1,000 points on someone. So, Cosmo, do you think, obviously a great win for Duncan, keeps him in the conversation. Do you think he has life here, or it was just kind of a little, on his heart meter, like it was going dead, like it was, like it was going flatlining, it was going dead, and then all of a sudden it was like, boop, boop, and had like one little bump, and now it's going to go back to flatlining, or what do you think?
I think Duncan, just mathematically for him to make the playoffs, I think he almost has to win out. And I don't think his team is that good enough to where he can beat every single person that comes his way. But I think he could go on like a 3-1 run the rest of the season. I don't know if that'll quite be enough to get him to the playoffs, but definitely a nice win here. But I got to talk about Nahum's team, and man, if I were you, Nahum, I'd be worried because when I look at your team, I just see a trash can, honestly.
I won't forget you said that. I won't forget that.
I'm trying to feel the fire.
Oh man, I can't wait
I'm
for
just
next
kidding.
years podcast when Nahum
Yeah,
comes on.
Your team's gonna be so bad, Nick.
Oh
I'm just
goodness.
kidding. I want Nahum's team to crash and burn because I'm scared to play him in the playoffs if it comes to it. So I'm really hoping you go on a losing streak. But I think your team's fine. And I think looking back on this season, when you look at some of the best moves of the season, getting Hunter Henry for $0, I think is going to stand out because you really needed a tight end, and I think you might actually have one of the better tight ends now in the league. So I think that was a good pickup.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Final matchup here from last week was a juicy one, neck and neck, eat every step of the way here. It was myself with my nips going against bow down to Saquon Taylor. Taylor had been on this dominant King sausage run here, just knocking opponents down left and right, and it was projected a 120 to 111 win for Taylor here, and I snatched it from him. I snatched that W and I shoved it in my mouth, and nutsack Nahum, you know what I'm saying? 121.8 to 121. That's right, at 0.8 victory here. Taylor had to get off the plane and see that and just start crying. And it was a crazy matchup. Like I said, neck and neck the entire way. On my side here, we had Josh Allen, 17 points, Tyreek Hill, 23, Chris Godwin, 10, Zeke Elliott, 14. Zeke had 139 rushing yards on 23 carries, but only ends up with 13.9 points. Crazy. Jalen Samuels, 12.8 points, a little disappointing. Jonnu Smith, 3 points, tight end, whatever, suck my dick, tight end. Michael Gallup, 10 points.
Okay.
Kicker, 11 points, and my Pittsburgh defense, 19 points. Over on Taylor's side, 20 points from Jameis Winston, 2 from Stephon Diggs, 30 from Mike Evans, who is currently the number 1 wide receiver on the season, 12.5 points from Saquon, 13 from Mark Ingram, 16 from George Kittle, and 15 from Curtis Samuel here. So obviously a much needed win on my part, my third straight win here, giving me life in these rankings, giving me an outside shot at playoffs if I can keep it rolling. For Taylor, I think it was just a little bit of a blip. I think his team's fine and still super dominant. David Johnson should be coming back this week, so hopefully that helps him out a little bit. Cosmo, what do you take away most from this matchup here?
Matchup just like who can survive buys the most, and everyone's suffering. Everyone has to plug in bums here and there, but Taylor's team's good. It's I would like I said with Nahum's team, I would really like him to go on a skid here and just lose out so he doesn't make the playoffs, because I don't want to face him at all in the playoffs. But it's good. He didn't even need David Johnson this week. He still scored in the top 4, so I don't think he has anything to worry about. And it looks like your moves that you made, some of them looked great on paper, some of them didn't look great, but I think for the most part, everything is kind of coming into place here. And you needed a shakeup, and the shakeup has worked. So I think you made some good moves here, and I said last week, if you could win Taylor, I think you really have a good shot at making the playoffs, and you did that. So I feel pretty good.
Yeah, it was a crazy matchup. I was sweating it at the end there, hoping Saquon wasn't going to get any more points. But yeah, when I flipped my team, I just wanted consistent players. I didn't want, boom or bust players because I was tired of scoring, 115 one week and then 70 the next week. And so I've kind of scored around 115 each week since the moves, and it's been able to catch some people off guard dealing with buys and stuff like that. So um, very good. But Nahum, I know you weren't too pleased in your classroom with my current grade. So what are your thoughts on this matchup here?
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely the closest matchup out of all of them this week, obviously. But I think both teams are very strong. Um, yeah, Taylor lost, but his team is still scary that he's been scoring like 120 or more every week for I don't even know how long. But and yeah, like you said, your team is a lot more consistent, and your team did so well even with Zeke. Um, but yeah, yeah, I gave you a low score in the on your report card, but your team does look very strong. I do think you have a.
Yeah, I mean it's good to at least see Melvin Gordon kind of get back into the swing of things this week. We'll see if that actually is sustained. Devin Singletary was a nice surprise this week on my bench. It looks like they're kind of saying, all right, Frank Gore, go to the retirement home. Devin Singletary is here now, so we'll have to see if that sustains as well. But all right, that was your matchup review for Week 9 here, and let's move right along.
Get your fab ready. It's time to make it rain on them hoes.
All right, in our fab and waivers this week, are the one that we most wanted to talk about, the hottest topic of the week here, Young Ho Koo or Young Shui Hu or whatever his name is, was picked up by Akshay for $1, beating out Aaron, who also bid $1. Cosmo, are you upset?
Dude. I mean, it's not right. It's not right for these people to rob me of my man. I've been hyping this guy up, and I would have picked him up, but I was just in a crunch. I couldn't do it. And these bastards freaking stole him. So Akshay and Aaron, I hope you finished 10th and 9th. That's all I got to say.
I
I mean,
just
Aaron, I'll cut you some slack, Aaron, since you didn't actually get him. So yeah, I'll be here last.
yeah, I just want to see how he actually does on the Falcons, see if he's actually a pretty good kicker or not. But okay, but the real main.
I think
Go ahead.
Akshay's convinced that he can sell high on Young Wei Koo. He was telling me that he had some trade offers in mind.
Oh no, he definitely sent me.
Wait, what he said to you?
Well, first was for Dalvin. I'm pretty sure. I'd like to hope he was trolling me.
Oh, probably wasn't.
And then he sent me one.
He sounded pretty convinced.
Yeah, he sent me one today for AJ Green, and again, I wasn't sure if he's trolling or not, but yeah.
Hey, Akshay, keep trying. One of them might stick. You know what I'm saying? But all right,
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try.
the real main pickup of the week here was surprisingly Ronald Jones II. We're always bashing this guy, but Bruce Arians came out and said, look, he's the most explosive running back we've got. He makes the most plays. I think we need to give him more touches. Basically saying, Peyton Barber, you're just a walking shart in your pants. Time to sit on the bench. So we'll see if that actually comes true or not. But Brandon needed some running back depth, needed help at running back with James Conner injury and stuff like that. So he went ahead and dropped $23 on Ronald Jones here, beating out Rahi, who had $93 and he spent $13 on a position that he desperately needs help at. $9 for Aaron and $8 for Duncan here. Cosmo, is this a good pickup for Brandon? Do you believe in the Rojo hype?
Dude, I've fallen twice. Good luck. Next week, this is exactly what's going to happen. Ronald Jones is hyped up. This literally happened last time I picked him up. Like, Bruce Arians came out and said Ronald Jones is the best running back we have. He's in line for more touches. And then the first 10 carries were Peyton Barber. Same exact thing is going to happen this week. For whatever reason, that guy just keeps getting work. And I mean, and I think for Brandon too, like, weirdly enough, like, he's probably the one person in the league that doesn't really need to spend huge on running back. I guess it always doesn't hurt to have depth there, but so maybe it's a little too much considering I think he needed more help at receiver. But yeah, I mean, I fell for this so many times as someone that's blown, a bunch of money on him that did not work out. I just can't buy into it. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I just can't. I can't do it.
Nahum, are you feeling the Rojo?
No, I'm not. But, yeah, I'm not. That's it.
All right, that's all we need. Next, we had Zach Pascal, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, filling in with Paris Campbell going down with an injury and T.Y. Hilton being out. Brandon picked him up for $6. Brandon spending big this week, beating out Akshay for $2. And I want everyone to hold that thought because that's going to lead into something in a second. So we'll wait to talk about that one. Next, we had Jamison Crowder, picked up by Duncan for $8. Duncan's on this quest to find a wide receiver too, and he just can't seem to do it. And I think maybe this was not the best pickup. I understand that, he got peppered with targets last week, but it was against the Dolphins. And Sam Darnold, I think Sam Darnold still messed up from the Patriots game, and he just didn't want to throw anything deep, didn't want to risk interceptions, and was just, like I said, peppering Jamison Crowder with targets. And I think once he kind of gets back into form and the Jets kind of do some soul searching, I think, and, Chris Herndon comes back and everything, I think it might not be the best thing. Hopefully Duncan's not disappointed again. But, Cosmo, do you think this is fool's gold here, or did Duncan make a good pickup?
No, I actually kind of like this move because I think Crowder, the Jets, like, I know the Jets have been really bad lately, but their schedule is juicy for the next 4 weeks, and this is the time where Duncan needs wins. And I actually think Crowder could be very helpful. He is like a go-to target for Darnold for the most part. When Darnold's played, he's gotten a lot of targets. Minus a couple of these tough matchups that they had. I mean, there's that first week 1 game where he got like literally 17 targets, and so I think he's a solid receiver that gets a lot of targets, and he took advantage of a good matchup this week, and he's got a lot more good matchups these coming weeks. So I actually am okay with this.
Well, on the other side, Brandon picked up Kalen Ballage for $0, who is pretty much the only running back left in town for the Dolphins. They have rookie Myles Gaskin, but Mark Walton is suspended and Kenyon Drake has been traded. Nahum, do you think this is a good pickup for Brandon, or what?
I mean, if he's the only guy to do the job, then it can't be a bad one. And I mean, he didn't spend any money. I don't know who he dropped for Ballage, but I don't bad move at all. I'm surprised he went for $0. I don't know Ballage too well. I don't know how good he is, but I mean, if he's gonna be the RB1 in Miami, then I like this move.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. Cosmo, Cameron grabbed Josh Gordon for $0 here. No one else really went for him. Cameron already has a good wide receiver core. Do you think this is just kind of a stash and see thing here with Josh Gordon?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to pan out to anything. And, I'm coming from a place of bias probably because I've drafted him the last 2 years and it hasn't worked out either time. And I think we kind of talked on why we don't really think he's going to benefit a lot from this move to Seahawks earlier. But, I mean, I don't think any bid for $0 can't really be a bad move. So, I mean, I don't blame Cameron for taking a shot here. If he works out, he could be great. So, I don't think it will, but, the worst players you could take a flyer on.
Well, moving on to the trades we've had so far this week. Quick note, our trade deadline is this Saturday. I think that means like midnight Saturday. I'm not totally sure on the timing thing, but I'm guessing that the last day to make trades will be this Saturday. So keep that in mind, everyone, as the week goes forward. If there's someone you've had your eyes on, you might want to make a move or just stick with your team. But the first one we have here is Akshay trades Cortland Sutton to Brandon for Zach Pascal. Looks like he was a little salty that he didn't get Zach Pascal in the waivers here, and so he decided to trade a wide receiver one, Cortland Sutton, for Zach Pascal. Cosmo, do you think this is a good? He's taking a shot on Zach Pascal here with the injuries that the Indianapolis Colts have had, or was this a big mistake here?
I think it kind of was a big mistake. Cortland Sutton's been really good this season, and he's a really talented receiver. He's having that year two breakout. He's the unquestionable number one receiver in that Broncos offense. I know the isn't great, but it hasn't been great all season. He's still been good. Zach Pascal, probably none of us have even heard of him prior to like 2 weeks ago, and he's really only relevant because everyone else around him has gotten hurt, and that shouldn't be permanent. T.Y. Hilton should be back in 2 to 3 weeks. I just don't really understand the swap here from Akshay's perspective. I love it from Brandon's perspective. I think he's got a nice receiver that he desperately needed. I don't get this for Akshay.
Yeah, Nahum, do you think he was just super salty that he lost out on the waivers and made kind of a knee-jerk reaction here, or what?
I mean, I can tell you why he did this. Yeah, I mean, it was great for Brandon. Like all he had to spend was $6, and Cortland's Cortland Sutton is has been, I mean, he's been pretty consistent. He's had some bad games, but yeah, two guys coming back, so Pascal will not be too relevant for after he's back. Yeah, I don't know why Akshay did it, but
yeah, I can't tell you why he did it, but I'm sure it'll somehow work out for Akshay. So,
yeah,
which leads us into our next trade here.
It always.
Akshay made another move here, which I have to say both these moves came after I sent a PSA in the group chat today. I was like, "Hey, trade deadline's this Saturday," and all of a sudden it was boom, boom, 2 trades from Akshay. So, just like we always say, gets in that trade mode and has to trade. So, Akshay traded DJ Chark and Philip Lindsay to Aaron to get his boy Tyler Lockett back. The man he drafted and traded away 2 days later. He now has Tyler Lockett back, giving away DJ Chark and Philip Lindsay to Aaron here. So Aaron gets pretty good receiver and another running back. Either add some depth or help him out. Cosmo, thoughts on this trade?
Actually, I don't hate it from Aaron's perspective, but I actually really, really like it from Akshay's perspective. I've made it pretty well known how much I like Tyler Lockett, and it seems like he's only gotten better and better as the season progressed. I don't think he's had like one game below 10 points, he's been remarkably consistent, and he just seems to be getting better and better every single week. I think talent-wise, he's legitimately one of the best receivers in the league. And Russell Wilson, I think, is just getting more and more comfortable throwing to him. Usually in these type of deals, like what I was saying a couple weeks ago, I like the deals that get the best player back. But I don't think the return is bad necessarily for Aaron either. I think Shark has faded a little bit, but I still think he's a talented receiver. And Philip Lindsay is, he's been solid. I think his performance a little bit depends on how good Royce Freeman does. Sometimes whenever Royce Freeman has a good week, then Philip Lindsay kind of suffers a little bit. But he's still like pretty startable guy. So I think I prefer it for Akshay, but I don't really necessarily hate it from the side.
Yeah, Nahum, any thoughts to add to that?
I would say it's actually pretty even. I think because Aaron, I think he actually needs another, like RB2. Yeah, I mean, it adds depth to his running backs, but I think he's gonna probably need to start Lindsay after this trade. And yeah, I mean, DJ Chark, he might put him in the flex every now and then. And then yeah, Akshay is getting Tyler Lockett. And he's a clear wide receiver one. So yeah, I like it for both of them.
Yeah, I'd say I actually like this one for Akshay a little bit more just because I really like Tyler Lockett. Fills a hole. He traded away Cortland Sutton, so now he gets Tyler Lockett back in that spot. Um, I think Philip Lindsay is kind of hard to trust this year, like you said, with Royce Freeman and stuff. Um, and we'll have to see what happens with DJ Chark with Nick Foles coming back. So, um, but yeah, pretty even trade. Uh, I think it was a good trade on both sides there. All right, that has been our transactions of the week. Next up, we have the Week 10 matchup preview.
Will you redeem yourself or be a complete failure again? It's time for the weekly matchup preview.
All right, well, now we're getting back into facing the people that everyone faced earlier in the season. So your week 1 matchup is now your week 10 matchup. And I guess you could call it rivalry week if you want to, you know what I'm saying? So let's get right into it. First matchup here, we have Whip My Nips, myself, going against Cox out for Kamara. Nahum, rematch of week 1 when Nahum just smacked me down. 4-5, 7th place, going against 5-4, 2nd place. Projected a 122 to 109 win for Nahum here. On my side, we got Josh Allen at Cleveland, Tyreek Hill at Tennessee, Chris Godwin against Arizona, Zeke against Minnesota, Melvin Gordon against Oakland, Chris Herndon against the Giants, and Devin Singletary against Cleveland. On Nahum's side, dealing with some bye weeks, but he's got good fill-ins. We got Drew Brees against Atlanta, Keenan Allen against Oakland, Amari Cooper against Minnesota, Kamara coming back from the injury, it looks like, against Atlanta, Chris Carson against San Francisco, Hunter Henry against Oakland, and currently in the flex, Juju against the Rams. Um, Cosmo, one thing you want to highlight about this match and who you think will win.
I just want to highlight the trash can. It's starting to stink a little bit. I think that kind of. No, I'm just kidding. I think, I think it's going to be a tough matchup. I think your team is remarkably improved over the last, couple weeks due to the trades you've made. But I think a lot of times when Nahum's, team sucks it up, usually it bounces back after a week. So I think it's going to be close. And I think ultimately I'm going to give the slight edge to Nahum just because I feel like his team just blows up immediately after he has these bad weeks. But I think this might be the highest scoring matchup of the week and will come down to the wire. But quick thing I just want to point out is like Keenan Allen hasn't had a game above like 10 points for like the last 6 weeks. And so I think if Nahum needs to win this, Keenan Allen's got to do a lot better than the crap he's been doing lately.
Yeah, it's been rough for Keenan Allen, but Oakland has some of the worst or secondary in the league, giving up a lot of points to the wide receivers. So if that's going to be this week, if it doesn't happen this week, then you might go on a worry. But yeah, hopefully, for Nahum's sake, Keenan Allen can have a nice week there. And that was actually a point I was going to bring up. Is it seems like every time this year that Nahum has kind of a bum week or whatever, get that nut sack. He pulls that nut sack out, nut sack, Nahum. He does that kind of stuff. The next week he blows up and gets the king sausage. So we've already seen that this year. He got the stanky sausage one week and the king sausage the next week. So yeah, not looking too good for me in that perspective. I think I'm gonna get my first L in 3 weeks here. Unfortunately, but Nahum's team is just like a buzzsaw, and I think Kamara coming back, wants some revenge on me for trading him away. And unfortunately, it's against Atlanta, who gives up a bunch of rushing and receiving yards to the running back. So I think Kamara's gonna have a nice game here, especially with Drew Brees coming back. So I'm predicting Nahum blows up on this one, and I'm not predicting like a bad week from my team, but I just don't think I'll be able to outscore. I think the ceiling of my team is kind of capped. I don't think I'll be able to outscore Nahum here. Nahum, are you feeling good about this matchup, or are you a little worried?
I'm a little worried about a couple things. I think he's due for a big game, so I'm not too worried about him. I feel like this will be, the week he comes back. But two things I'm really worried about are Carson's matchup against San Francisco, and then my flex spot. With the flex, I really don't know. Right now, it's between Juju, Coleman, and I'm even Latavius Murray because I don't think they're gonna stop, feeding him the ball. I think he's still gonna have a role with the Saints. So he might be um, he might be one of the person I put in my flex spot. And with Carson, actually, after that game last week, um, the Cardinals and the Niners, Kenyon Drake went off, so maybe Carson might do the same. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not like super confident in my team for this matchup, but um, you know, I do like my odds.
Yeah, so we'll see. Next matchup here, we've got Cosmo against Aaron, 7-2, number one, first place right now, going against 3-6, ninth place Aaron. Projected a 109-94 victory for Cosmo here. Cosmo's got Kyler Murray, Devontae Adams, Tyler Boyd, Dalvin Cook, Todd Gurley, Jack Doyle, and Mike Williams currently in the lineup. On Aaron's side, he's got Russell Wilson, Robert Woods, Watkins, Nick Chubb, David Montgomery, Gerald Everett, and Marvin Jones currently in the lineup here. I gotta say, it's looking like Aaron is kind of, he's reacting to his bench regrets from last week and throwing them into the lineup. He made some trades which kind of changed things around. Adam Thielen hurt, Jarvis Landry going against Buffalo. But yeah, right now he's got Marvin Jones in there, Robert Woods, Sammy Watkins. I'm going to go ahead and say that I, feel confident enough that Cosmo is going to go ahead and take the win here. You know, Kyler Murray against Tampa Bay should be a lot of fantasy points put up there. We just saw Russell Wilson drop 39 on them. Dalvin Cook against Dallas. Dallas likes to just, when we need it most, likes to just kind of part the Red Sea and let the running back run right through. I think that's going to happen. Dalvin Cook had a down week last week, looking to bounce back. So I'm going to take Cosmo here on this one to get the win. Nahum, what do you say?
Yeah, I think I will go with Cosmo on this one. But I'm curious to see who Aaron plays this week. After that trade with Akshay goes through, and what he's going to do with Thielen, because I don't know if it's confirmed if Thielen will be out. Depends if he misses practice this week, I guess. But yeah, either way, I do think Cosmo will take this one.
And Cosmo, how are you feeling about this?
I'm feeling pretty good. Just against Aaron. One is Thielen is probably not going to play, and two is the two players that he traded for this week. Both are on bye, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't actually have to face any of the guys that he traded for, and I don't have to face Lockett. So I think, I'm catching him at the right moment, but you never know. It could completely blow up my face, but.
Yeah, we'll see. Our next juicy matchup here, we've got Akshay 3-6 in 8th place, still currently Jones' dream team. So we'll have to see if that helps him out this week or not. Going against Antonio Brown sucks. Brandon, you got to let go of that anger, man. I think it's time to change the name. 5-4 in 6th place. Projected a 98-96 win for Brandon here. How pathetic. Over on Brandon's side, 18 points from Matt Ryan. That's projection. Matt Ryan, Odell Beckham, Devontae Parker, Josh Jacobs, Ronald Jones in the lineup against Arizona, Mark Andrews, and currently James Conner against the Rams is in his lineup. Over on Akshay's side, we have Dak Prescott, Allen Robinson, Emmanuel Sanders, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Austin Hooper, and Josh Reynolds currently in his lineup here. I think my major takeaway from this, Matt Ryan always puts up stud points against New Orleans. Just always seems to be a shootout. But I think it's really going to come down to Ronald Jones against Arizona here. If it's really true, they're going to give him more carries. This is the game that you want him in. And could be a big factor for Brandon's team. But I'm actually going to say Akshay takes this win here, and I think Akshay gets back to form and scores around 120 or more points. Emmanuel Sanders is becoming the clear number one for that San Francisco offense, and they're using him in a lot of creative ways. Allen Robinson is too good of a player to not have some sort of bounce back game. Aaron Jones, he's been really good and really consistent. Last week was kind of a down week, so maybe he'll come back. Derrick Henry wanting to earn that love back from Akshay, against Kansas City, maybe he can do something. So we'll have to see here, but I'm going to go Akshay. Cosmo, what do you want to highlight, and who do you want to win?
I think I just can't really. Maybe I'm being stubborn, but I just can't do it. And James Conner, I'm not quite sure if he's even going to play. So I think the odds are kind of in Akshay's favor, especially after he pulled off that trade for Lockett, which I really, really like. So I'll agree for two reasons. I think Akshay's team is in full strength this week, and I think he's actually compiled a decent team here. And then two, he also told us not to pick him to help him win. So I'm going to do the exact opposite and pick him to win. To hopefully screw him over for taking my boy Young Hoku.
Yeah, I actually forgot about Lockett, so he'll probably switch Josh Reynolds out in the flex for Tyler Lockett. But Nahum, who do you think's going to win this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I think Akshay is going to win it. Because his receivers are looking at it now. His receivers are very strong, James Conner might be out, so Brandon will be forced to play either Balaj or Johnson. Brandon's kind of hurt by buys this week. I'm going with Akshay.
How it works out for him. Next matchup here, we've got Duncan, 3-6, currently in 10th place, going against Cameron, 5-4 in 5th place. Projected a 114 to 110 win for Duncan here. Duncan's got Lamar Jackson, Julio Jones back, Christian Kirk, Lev Bell, Marlon Mack, Travis Kelce, Jamison Crowder, and Cameron's got Pat Mahomes, Tyrell Williams, Michael Thomas, Austin Eckler, Matt Breida, Darren Waller, and John Brown. DeAndre Hopkins being on bye, Mohamed Sanu being on bye. So we'll have to see how it works out. I'm going to go ahead and say that I want to highlight the Marlon Mack versus Miami here. They got Brian Hoyer. I think they're going to lean on Marlon Mack a lot. Miami's not good at stopping the run defense. I think Marlon Mack could have one of his big 20-point games right when Duncan needs it most. And I'm going to go ahead and actually say that I think Duncan gets the win here. And, I'll explain why in a later segment.
I think I would. Yeah, I think matchups are just kind of in his side. Cameron's, got DeAndre Hopkins out this week, which is, I think, a big blow to his team. And I think a couple of, key players. Christian Kirk, I still believe in him. Last week, I think, was just an anomaly. He had a tough matchup, but I think he's going to feast against Tampa Bay's Swiss cheese secondary. And then I think, like I kind of was trying to defend him earlier, Crowder's got some nice matchups. The Giants are a joke of a defense. And so I think those two players will help boost his wide receiver production that hasn't really been there this year, and he'll take the W against Kim.
Nahum, what do you say?
I'll actually go with Cameron on this one. I think Michael Thomas is gonna blow up this week. I think Patrick Mahomes is gonna have a strong game in first game back from injury, and then Breida. Niners are feeding him the ball a lot more, like we saw in the game against the Cardinals on Thursday. I'm gonna go with Cameron. I think he's gonna have a high scoring week.
All right. Well, our final matchup here in Week 10, we've got Taylor 5-4 in 3rd place, going against Farahi 5-4 in 4th place. Currently a 121 to 100 projection win for Taylor. Taylor's got Jameis Winston against Arizona, Stephon Diggs, Mike Evans against Arizona, Saquon, Mark Ingram, George Kittle, and David Johnson coming back from injury. Rahi's got Kirk Cousins, Kenny Galladay, Cooper Kupp, Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Greg Olson, and Rahi's actually hit so bad by buys that he has to have Jordan Howard, who's currently on bye, in his flex position because he also has Royce Freeman, Zach Ertz, Deshaun Jackson, Carson Wentz, and James White on bye. Or I guess Carson Wentz doesn't matter, but yeah, and with Deshaun Jackson being on IR, you would think that Rahi might make some moves to pick someone up that can actually play this week. But that's against Rahi's code. He doesn't spend money, doesn't make moves. So I think he's probably just going to keep Jordan Howard in his flex. And that's not really why I'm going to pick Taylor to win. I'm just going to pick Taylor to win because I think he has the more complete team. And he's got some really good matchups this week. I actually think this one will be the highest scoring matchup of the week. And Taylor's still going to take that W though and move to 6-4. Nahum, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think it'll be like the highest scoring matchup. You mean like Taylor will be the
just
most
like
highest
both of
scoring
them
team?
added together. I think will be Taylor might score like
okay.
140 and Rahi will score like 120 or something.
Okay. Until I see what Rahi does with that flex spot, I'll have to go with Taylor on this one. His team is just very, very stacked, and there are a lot of good matchups this week for him.
Cosmo?
Yeah. Taylor's team at this point is just pretty, I think this might be the first week he's had all three of his running backs back, if I'm not mistaken. I think the last time that happened, David Johnson went out within the first play of the game. So knock on wood, this should be the first time he has his big three together. And I just don't think it's going to be easy for Rahi to take that down, especially with his flex position problems he has right now. And hopefully if he listens or if he pays attention, he will drop Deshaun Jackson, but you never know.
Yeah.
So, I'm picking Taylor.
You know what's amazing? Mike Evans is the number one wide receiver on the season, and he's had a 3-point game, an 8-point game, and a 0-point game. And he's the number one receiver on the season because he's had a 41-point game, a 17-point game, 16-point game, a 37-point game, and a 30-point game. So, crazy stuff from Mike Evans there. But we'll have to see who takes the W in Week 10. But now let's get to the important stuff.
Bold predictions.
All right. So last week, Cosmo said that OBJ is going to break out of his slump and finish as a top 3 wide receiver against a tough Denver secondary. And he was wrong. He scored 10.7 points and was not a top 3 wide receiver. So, yeah, sorry, you were wrong there. He was open for a touchdown on the final play, and Baker didn't even look his way. So, not good stuff from the Browns this year. Last week, I predicted that the Ravens were actually going to beat the Patriots 30-27, and they ended up beating them 37-20. So, just switch the 7 and the 0, and my projection would have actually been right. So, yeah, Patriots got exposed a little bit, and I think the Ravens proved that they can be really good contenders going forward in the season. So now let's go ahead and get to this week's
bold predictions.
You know what? Let's go ahead and let our guest, let's be him do. Let's let him do the honors here. Nahum, what is your bold prediction for Week 10?
I think this week, did I predict that Brandon would win or Akshay would win? Let me ask you that real quick.
Look, we don't fact check on this podcast.
Okay.
We just know what we're doing.
I predicted Akshay to win. I'm gonna go. Brandon will get the stinky sausage for the first time ever this week, and he's gonna break my record. 20. He's gonna score lower than 27 points.
Oh shit.
Bold prediction.
Cosmo, what is your bold prediction this week?
I'm predicting, in honor of our guest, he's had one player that's actually been very, very consistent this year, despite having a reputation of not being that consistent. And that's Amari Cooper. He's been great for Nahum's team, one of the cornerstones. But I think this week he's going to be dragged down into Uncle Nahum's basement. And this week Amari Cooper is going to score less than 3.5 points. And that's my bold prediction of the week. You're welcome, Nahum, because he's
Bold prediction.
Thank you.
All right. Well, my prediction, shouts out to one of our close friends. Duncan, there's a reason that Duncan earned the nickname Big Daddy Dunk over the years. You know what I'm saying? This dude always, just excelling, having success, just constant role model for all of us, just taking, kicking people's butts, taking names, and he's always been solid. Last year had one of the highest scoring teams all season long, made it to the championship, just dominating. Big Daddy Dunk. Well, this year hasn't been going so well, and he's really turned into Little Daddy Dunk. And you know what? He's just in his sorrows, just popping beers all the time in his recliner. He's kind of got a beer gut now. He's that dad, He's looking at his trophy case from many years ago and just kind of reminiscing and seeing the man he used to be and not that man anymore. And, he's not shaving. He's not taking care of himself. He's not showering. But you know what? He had an epiphany this week. He's looking out the window and he's like, you know what? I'm still the Big Daddy. I'm Big Daddy Dunk. That's right. This week, Duncan is going to get back. He's going to get up. He's going to exercise. He's going to get rid of that beer gut. He's going to shave. He's going to shower. And that's right. Duncan this week. Big Daddy Dunk is coming back. That's right. He's reclaiming his name. Big Daddy Dunk is going to win his matchup. And he's going to be the King Sausage of the week. And from then on, we are going to be calling him Big Daddy Dunk once again. And he's going to change his team name to Big Daddy Dick Sack Dunk after this week when he gets the King Sausage. Mark it down. It's coming true.
Bold predictions.
What about that one, Cosmo?
So basically, he's gonna break my record.
Yeah. So basically, since we've made these predictions, Brandon is now going to get the King Sausage, and Duncan's going to score less than 27 points, and his sorrows are going to continue. So that's usually just how it goes. But Nahum, any closing statements for our audience here?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, when I gave out report cards, you all are doing really bad. It's I don't know how the season's gonna play out. Everyone's just no one's clearly ahead besides Cosmo and I. So yeah, just I don't know what to say. Just keep it up, I guess, so I can keep doing well. But yeah, that's it. You guys suck.
Thank you, Cosmo. Any final words?
I'm currently on FBI.gov/tips to send in my anonymous tip against Uncle Nahum. I think he's been terrorizing people too long, and I think he belongs, with the popo.
Yeah, Nahum, if you could go ahead and bench your whole team, and then Cosmo, you could send that tip in, that'd be great for this week. I'd really appreciate that. But all right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Let's go ahead and hear what that sexy voice man has to say.
This is the Sausage Bowl Podcast signing out. As always, thanks for listening and see you next week.